Take a look at this picture. Is it possible to find the identity of a person with this picture alone? Well, that's exactly what I did in the craziest, most disturbing investigation ever conducted on this channel. Of course, I did this with good reason, to find a person who was posting CSAM on Pinterest. I was the first to cover this on YouTube, and this is going to be the last time that someone covers this on YouTube. I'm not just saying this to be dramatic. The reason being that all of the profiles, the pictures, the information has been scrubbed from the internet. You cannot find it, even using the Wayback Machine. By the time I began investigating, profiles were already disappearing. But because I covered it so quickly, I have all the screen recordings and information that ultimately led to identifying the person. This is an extremely disturbing rabbit hole. In fact, one of my longtime great friends who you probably know of here on YouTube, Snook, was completely taken aback, not just by the rabbit hole itself, but by the details of my investigation. Dude, I read and watch disturbing content day in and day out. I have seen almost everything that's disturbing on the internet. And what you've described to me is something that actually freaked me out. Nothing has done that for a long time. This needed to be done. It was really interesting to see a reaction like that from someone who makes a living covering disturbing content. And he also said something that's been echoed by many of you through comments, through messages, emails, all saying the same thing. This rabbit hole needs more awareness. Because there is a very real and practical warning here, one that affects anyone who posts pictures online, especially of their children. If you were one of my subscribers that saw my investigation into what I called the Daniel Tommy 616 rabbit hole, you're gonna get a few updates and also some of my personal thoughts on my approach to the investigation, which I usually try not to share. I will also be including 2 new rabbit holes that you definitely haven't heard of before that also truly need more awareness. One of them genuinely has me concerned that a child is in danger. If you want to support my channel, my Patreon, my Gifted and Talented / School Experiment podcast, my Discord server, all the links are in the description. But honestly, just by watching, sharing, liking, commenting, you're already helping me more than you know. The following content is truly disturbing, but important, because keeping children safe should be everyone's top priority.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Before we get into the investigation, this video is sponsored by Raycon. With Mother's Day coming up, it's the time to find a gift that she'll actually use, actually love, and actually attribute to her safety. Raycon's essential open earbuds check all of those boxes. My mom loves to walk while listening to music, especially with my dog Phoenix. Here's the issue. Regular earbuds block out everything. You can't hear someone calling your name, cars honking, or stray dogs that have actually crept up on my mom on her walks. This is where Raycon comes in. They have an open ear design, so you have an immersive experience with your music, but are still able to hear the world around you. This awareness is crucial for city streets. They're lightweight for all-day comfort. The rotating ear hook keeps them perfectly in place, which is why I love using them for the gym and for going on runs. It has multi-point connection, so it's incredibly easy to not only connect to multiple devices, but to seamlessly switch between them. And because they have a 36-hour battery life, I never think about charging. These essential open earbuds have easily become a must in my daily routine, and my mom's too. Plus, they have colors that everyone will love. Celebrate the mothers in your life. Go to buyraycon.com/cryptidcandyopen for 15% off the essential open earbuds. Click the link in my description or pinned comment of this video and enjoy that 15% off. And thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video. On October 23rd, 2025, a video was posted on TikTok where user Ancient Olive explained stumbling upon a series of disturbing Pinterest accounts that seemingly belong to one person. Thousands of off-putting images showcased across numerous accounts depicting children, mostly visually distorted with AI to have big eyes, big lips, adult body parts edited onto their prepubescent faces, and sometimes edited to portray very disturbing, inappropriate moments between children and adults. Disturbed viewers flooded the comments. Children/teens on every account? I'm sick. You've probably found a CSAM ring. I'm not even kidding, this is one of the scariest things I've seen on Pinterest like ever. The TikTok video began gaining traction on multiple Reddit threads, and the various Pinterest accounts became the focal point of an ongoing online mystery that many have compared to Smart Schoolboy 9. Online speculation has fueled various theories about the account. Some say the profiles are nothing more than an AI bot used for training facial recognition. Others have pointed towards an ARG or even live-action role-playing. And some say it's just an artist saving art references. All of these theories I'll be completely shutting down in this video. These accounts and the person behind them have proven to be a real cause for concern. Most of the AI-modified images have real underlying pictures of children and teens, and littered throughout the profiles are also unaltered genuine pictures of random children, some of which the owner of these accounts took himself. It's important to highlight that some of the images found in these profiles contain actual CSAM. And as if this online obsession wasn't disturbing enough, this user also shares pictures on Pinterest of the inside of his own home, showcasing various pictures of AI-modified children that he's printed and framed to display throughout his house. And all of this still has deeper layers, such as links that redirect users away from Pinterest and into his personal Google Photo account, a classic sign of a dog whistle. Despite countless online sleuths digging into the mystery, the person behind these perverse profiles has remained frustratingly elusive, leaving one crucial question unanswered. Who is the user posting these disturbing images? This isn't the first time I've investigated this rabbit hole, but this time there is one big difference. I now know the real identity of the person behind these accounts. Before getting into the deeper layers of this investigation and revealing the account owner, let's go over the key aspects of this rabbit hole. At the time of this recording, this user is still posting daily. There are currently 4 active Pinterest accounts connected to this individual. At least 6 others have already disappeared. It's unclear whether those profiles were voluntarily deleted or removed by Pinterest after being flagged. Though this is a reoccurring pattern. When one account is deleted, another one quickly shows up. His various profiles are easily found because he simply follows his own alt accounts. He also follows accounts that obsess over school shooters and serial killers. He's even posted his own modified photo of Columbine shooter Eric Harris. And these violent fixations are something that is going to be even more disturbing once I reveal this man's identity. We've already confirmed that many of the altered images found across these profiles originate from real photographs of children and teens. Images that in several cases can be traced back to their original unedited sources. Though in some of the images the visual distortions are so extreme that tracing the original picture really isn't possible. Some faces are warped beyond recognition. The faces stripped of bone structure or stretched into unnatural proportions. The shape of their heads extremely disfigured. Their hair digitally grafted on in an exaggerated, almost surreal way, and the skin is edited to look glossy and artificial. In other images, faces are layered on top of different bodies, sometimes multiple faces are blended together, and countless other bizarre edits. But the grotesque nature of the images isn't what caused so much internet attention, but rather the sexualized nature of these distortions. Faces of young boys edited onto women's breasts, others in overtly suggestive poses, the enlarged lips and mouths, and other edits meant to resemble CSAM. There's a lot of other disturbing implications in these images, but it's too much to even discuss here. Another crucial detail I noticed is that some of the images have a depraved, violent undertone, such as graphic chunks of flesh missing from some of the children's faces. Some are even edited to appear like bullet holes. It really is sickening. What makes this even more alarming is the unaltered photos of real children and teens interspersed among the edited ones, some of which included them in bathing suits. As if all of this isn't disturbing enough, some photos of random children are taken with his own camera. It's all clearly part of a disturbing fetish. Aside from the random pictures taken by his personal camera, he's likely sourcing images of the underaged on Pinterest itself. And even more disturbingly, likely sourcing some of the pictures from his friends' photo albums on Facebook, something we'll discuss a little later. The images are modified using AI, most notably through FaceApp, first identified by some of the images displaying the watermark, but by messaging the owner through an alt account, pretending to be interested in his editing style. We have confirmation that he specifically uses FaceApp Pro. FaceApp Pro is of course the paid version of the app, which enables users to remove the watermark, which explains why not all of the images have the mark. Keep in mind that FaceApp does not generate images, it only transforms them, meaning the app still requires an underlying picture to modify, though it is likely that this user is utilizing multiple apps or editing softwares to achieve some of these effects featured in these images. You'll also find pictures of adults within the profiles. These are often manipulated to look more grotesque and surreal. He also likes to modify real pictures of adults and teens to look even younger. And like the children, some of the adult images also have edited bullet holes and deep graphic wounds. Every now and then you'll come across explicit pictures of adult women, real shirtless pictures of teen boys, and many perverse variations. What makes all of this even stranger isn't just the volume of images, it's how they're organized. Across multiple profiles, thousands of these edited photos aren't simply uploaded at random, they're categorized into folders, with labels such as children, teens, smiles, hairstyles, and more. At first glance, this could look like simple organization, but when you spend enough time looking through his various profiles, certain hairstyles appear again and again, copied onto different faces, specific expressions repeated, poses re-emerge across unrelated images, which is why I believe these folders function more like a reference library. A way to isolate individual physical traits, such as the characteristic of a smile, and then using these traits to paste onto other faces, creating images of children that have combined characteristics. Just to give you a quick example, all of these images feature the same underlying boy. The pose is the same, the shape of the eyes are the same, the stare is the same, but the original face has been morphed and layered with faces of other boys, along with entirely different clothing and backgrounds. Using the likeness of very real children and teens, blending their faces together into AI-modified composites is something that I've seen people try to dismiss as just some weird, off-putting artistic venture, and that reaction in itself is disturbing. But the deeper I looked into these profiles, the clearer it became that this wasn't just about strange edits or unsettling aesthetics. That is simply scratching the surface, and this is where things stop being merely off-putting and starts becoming something much darker. This user is not only obsessed with creating digitally altered material involving children and teens, but has publicly shared explicit images of the real thing. During my first investigation, I found a picture containing real CSAM in one of the profiles under the now deleted account, Daniel Tommy 616. The picture displayed a young boy around 11 years of age wearing nothing but a shirt and a hat, with another boy holding him from behind. The image was a screenshot of a video titled Gay British 2. It's unclear where the video or screenshot originates, but the picture was not AI modified and extremely disturbing. In that very post was an offsite link that redirected users away from Pinterest and into the user's personal Google photo account. Once that page is reached, two photos are displayed, the perverse image of the two boys and this red house. Keep this red house in mind for later. Aside from the image itself, the concerning thing about this link is that if someone joins their Google photo account, they would be able to share their own pictures directly with the account owner, which has very obvious implications. This is predatory behavior, and there's clearly an intended audience, but there's still another trend to discuss here. And that's the pictures taken with his own camera. It's because of these personal pictures that we now know that the perversions found in his Pinterest profiles are far more than just an online obsession, and the reason that I now know who this individual is. Scattered across the various Pinterest profiles are many pictures taken with his own camera. These include pictures of hotels, pools, streets, museums, and other random travel photos. Well, they look like travel photos, don't they? While I can verify that some of the personal pictures are real, which we'll discuss in a minute, this user also has another disturbing pastime worth mentioning. He posted a few photos of the inside of a building, that building being under 5, an international preschool, which is strange, because a preschool isn't exactly a tourist attraction. With a little digging, I discovered that the pictures were screenshots taken from Google Maps, specifically using Google Street View. So to be clear, this user is using Google's walkthrough feature to virtually explore the inside of a preschool. This does bring his other so-called travel photos into question, but let's talk about the real photos that allowed me to put the pieces to the puzzle together and find his identity. The most crucial data was hidden in the pictures he took of the inside of his own home. The following pictures were posted in a now deleted Pinterest account. For starters, he posted this picture of one of his rooms. Take a look at the circular wall decor. Now look at these images. He's edited various children and teens to appear as if they are inside of his house. And what would be the point of posting images of recognizable items only to make sure those same items are visible in the background of pictures of children and teens? He's definitely putting a message out there. But see, it still doesn't end there. In this picture of his refrigerator, we can see multiple framed images of children on top of it. And again, even more framed images of children on his living room table. The two tables further in the back do seem to contain adults, possibly family members, but it's difficult to tell with this picture alone. But on the main table are two visible framed pictures that I managed to directly match to other images he posted on his Pinterest. The first framed image is of an AI-modified boy with a hat. If you look closely at the picture, you can see a cross decoration in back of the boy. That same cross decoration can be seen on the wall of this very picture displaying the framed images. The other framed picture was also posted in one of his Pinterest accounts. This obsession with underage boys obviously consumes this user. With these alarming observations in mind, I found myself with the same questions as others who encountered these Pinterest accounts. Who is behind these profiles, and how close are they to children in real life? Finding the person behind these profiles seemed improbable. Pinterest revealed virtually nothing about the individual running the accounts. The only identifiable information tied to the profiles were the usernames themselves, which mostly consisted of variations of the names Tommy, Daniel, Lee, and Tammy. It was hard to believe that someone operating accounts like these would include their real name in the username. They seem too common, and who would actually use their real name on accounts posting these kinds of images? With that basic information, I tried various combinations of the usernames on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and other social media sites, all to no avail. But during my first investigation, I made two crucial observations that were paramount in finding the identity of the user. The first is that he works at Walmart. Let's go back to the picture of his refrigerator. On the fridge itself, we can see numerous magnets, some of which are pinning business cards, a calendar, and even a couple of credit cards alongside other miscellaneous items. The problem is that the picture quality is just low enough to obscure any important information that could be found on the business or credit cards. And even trying multiple image upscalers didn't help either. But something we can clearly see is a magnet with a Walmart logo. And just beneath that, we can see a couple of Mainstays magnets. Mainstays is of course Walmart's in-house brand. If we go back to the picture of his living room, on the same table as the AI-modified children, we can also see a 25-year Walmart award. And barely but clearly discernible, we can see the name on the award, Tommy Daniel. And I'm gonna give you a little spoiler. The Walmart award is real, and his name is actually Tommy Daniel, and I'll be confirming that later in this video. But even with knowing that he works at Walmart and that his name is Tommy Daniel, it still wasn't enough information to find him. I did check LinkedIn where I found a Daniel Tommy in Oceanside, but the profile has no further information, and I can now confirm that this isn't Tommy Daniel from Pinterest. This is all the information that I uncovered during my first investigation. Oh, and Tommy also posted this picture of a random man in one of his Pinterest accounts, and I speculated that this was an image of Tommy Daniel himself. Well, I can now confirm that this is also not in fact Tommy Daniel, and I do apologize for that previous speculation. With that being said, that's all I knew at the time, and I posted the video on YouTube. On January 27th, 2026, literally one day after I posted my video about this rabbit hole, Tommy posted this image on Pinterest. The outside of a Walmart. But like his other photos, the quality of the picture was just low enough to not make any of the license plates on the cars in the parking lot visible, which would have helped me identify the state. But there is a very important detail in this picture. Snow.
A massive, deadly winter storm is moving across at least 35 states. More than 200 million people are in the path of these frigid conditions.
Like I mentioned, the picture was posted late January of this year, and at that time there was a huge snowstorm in the United States that affected about 35 states, one of which being Arkansas. See, Arkansas was already on my radar as a place of interest because of two previous Pinterest posts Tommy had posted. One was an AI-modified image of convicted human remains seller, Jeremy Lee Pauley. When you look into Pauley's case, he sourced several corpses with the intention of selling the bodies from 3 different locations: a hospital in Kansas, Harvard Medical School in Boston, and a mortuary in Arkansas. I suspected that the reason that Tommy posted this modified image of Jeremy Lee Pauley was maybe because the case was relevant to the state he lives in, and for that reason, he found it interesting. But what really solidified Arkansas as the most likely place of residence was this photo of a laundry room. The photo itself seemed out of place, and unlike his typical low-quality pictures that seem to always perfectly blur important information, we can clearly see that the sign contains operating instructions for the dryer. But more importantly, we can see a phone number. The phone number is to Central Laundry Equipment, Inc., a business located in Arkansas. So when I noticed that Arkansas was one of the states affected by the January snowstorm, I speculated that this Walmart was possibly located in Arkansas. There are 128 Walmarts in Arkansas. In the photo provided by Tommy, the Walmart has a vision center, which meant it was likely a supercenter. Arkansas has 77 Walmart supercenters. Now there was one thing left to do. Go to Google Street View and look through every single Walmart supercenter in Arkansas. Yes, one by one, until one of the Walmarts matched the Walmart featured in Tommy's picture. Many hours and multiple days later, a lamppost. Strangely, the visible lamppost in the picture Tommy posted is a distinct lamppost with 2 heads. No other Walmart in Arkansas had a similar one. The lamppost was also in the right place, and zooming out, it's a direct match. This is the Walmart Tommy posted on Pinterest. The Walmart is located in Forest City, Arkansas. I went to Google and typed in Walmart Forest City Tommy Daniel, and there it was. His Facebook account. This is 65-year-old Tommy Daniel, the user behind the disturbed images on Pinterest. He listed Walmart Forest City as his workplace, but how do we know that this is really him? Remember earlier when we spoke about the image containing real CSAM? The boy wearing a shirt and a hat being held from behind by another boy? That's the image that had the link that redirected users to his personal Google photo account. Once there, only 2 images were available, one of which being the perverse photo of the 2 boys, and the other one was the red house. That same red house is also posted on his Facebook account, and it was also previously posted on one of his Pinterest accounts as well. I don't know the correlation or significance behind Tommy posting the picture of the boys in the house. I can confirm that the red house is not his home, and it doesn't seem to be a previous address either, so this part is still a mystery. But I also recognize another image on his Facebook account. This picture was posted on Tommy Daniel's Facebook, and this image was posted on one of Tommy Daniel's Pinterest profiles, which is literally an AI-modified image of himself with a teenager's face and head. But the pose, the background, the sunglasses, and the clothing are exactly the same. And he does work at Walmart. In fact, I even called the store location to verify that everything lined up. Unfortunately, sharing a recording of that phone call would be illegal because I'm in California and recording a phone call without consent is a crime. So you'll have to take my word on this. For the record, I didn't actually speak with him. I called the store and one of his coworkers just told me that he was busy and asked if I could call back at another time. I never did. All I wanted was a confirmation that my investigation was based on the right information. At this point, I turned my attention towards investigating Tommy's Facebook account. Well, accounts. He has 2. Like Pinterest, he's simply friends with his own other account. By all means, his Facebook behavior is normal, following family members and coworkers almost exclusively. The only thing that gave any resemblance to his Pinterest profiles is that Cameron Boyce is one of the 3 profiles featured in his likes. The other profiles in his likes are the University of Missouri, and most importantly, Salem Missionary Baptist Church. I looked into the church's Facebook account and ran into a post from March 19, 2025. This past Sunday, we had our annual Ushers Day program and recognized our Usher Board ministry for their commitment to Christian service. Their service is invaluable and greatly appreciated by the members and visitors of Salem Missionary Baptist Church. Thank you. In this post is a picture of the Usher Board ministry, which features Tommy. This means that Tommy Daniel is an usher at Salem Missionary Baptist Church. Now, at first I was a little skeptical. He looked a little different in this picture, and on the post, no names are mentioned. I just happened to recognize Tommy. But on his sister's Facebook profile is another picture of Tommy, and in those pictures, he looks more like the picture seen on the church's Facebook account. But I still had to rule out the possibility of being wrong, and even if I was right, maybe Tommy is no longer there. This was posted in early 2025 after all, so I decided to call the church. Again, I can't share a recording of that conversation, but I did speak with a very nice woman who informed me that yes, Tommy is still an usher at the church, and even told me that sometimes he gets caught up at Walmart and can't attend every service. Before I continue, please don't harass this church. I want to emphasize that they haven't done anything wrong, but Tommy is featured in various photos posted by the church on their Facebook page. Disturbingly, Tommy is around many children at the church. In fact, the church posts hundreds and hundreds of pictures of children that attend. And that's when a disturbing realization began to surface. Despite his main accounts having 28 more friends, both of Tommy's Facebook accounts have virtually identical friends, with a handful of different people here and there. But as I mentioned, all of them are either coworkers, family members, or people that live in the same town. Both of his accounts were made in a relatively short span of each other, and I don't know the reason behind this. But as I looked through his Facebook friends, expecting to find sketchy connections or any other thing to add to an already long list of concerning behavior, I found, well, nothing. His friends are just normal people posting normal things. I thought for a second that there was nothing else left for me to uncover, and then I realized something that is truly disturbing. Like the church, his friends on Facebook post hundreds, sometimes thousands of pictures of their children. Birthday parties, school pictures, football games, and anything you'd expect to be posted on social media. But as I looked through their profiles, I realized that a lot of the children posted on their Facebook pages resembled some of the modified children that I've seen in Tommy's Pinterest profiles. So I compared the images, and this is what I found. Earlier I spoke about how Tommy edits photos, often morphing faces onto different faces and heads, and the outcome is a combination that contains the characteristics of two separate faces blended together. Some of Tommy's edits are obvious, such as these two images. It's clearly the same face, but Tommy gave the boy longer hair, darkened the complexion a bit, and enlarged the lips. Other edits also obviously have the same underlying image, but are more modified, like in these three images. All of these faces are extremely different, but we can clearly see that the fundamental base is the same, because they all have the same shirt and they all have their heads tilted in the same way. Though in the image of the older man, Tommy changed the color of the shirt from purple to a beige-brownish color. Other examples of this are less obvious but can still be identified if you look for specific features, such as these two images. At first glance, they look like two entirely different pictures, but look at the shape of the eyebrows, they're both unnaturally straight. And even though the teeth are different, the general characteristic of the smile and even the barely visible top lip are the same. He also added another layer of clothing and changed the color of the shirts on the picture to the right. But even still, you can just barely see that they're wearing the same shirts by the pattern of the shirt itself. Sometimes the only way to identify an underlying image has been reused is by the clothing itself. Like in these two images, the face, the neck, the head, they look entirely different, but Tommy used the same clothing and the same pose. Like I said, I believe Tommy uses more than just FaceApp, but FaceApp Pro does allow you to make pictures unrecognizable. You can change hairstyles, the hair color, the eyebrows, pretty much any facial feature. You can even make people older or into a teen or a child. There's even a baby face feature. You can also artificially add a smile with teeth to an image where someone has their mouth closed, and this is just some of what you can do with FaceApp Pro. Now consider the fact that Tommy also layers faces on top of other faces, and you can begin to understand that if Tommy is using children whose parents happen to be his friends and coworkers, it would be incredibly hard to notice. But there is one notable pattern that I've observed. And this is why I believe that Tommy Daniel is sourcing at least some pictures from his friends' photo albums on Facebook. Some features of a person's face crosses over and are still noticeable, even after face blending or AI effects are applied. And that's the shape of a facial characteristic itself. Take a look at these examples. At first glance, these images appear to contain 3 different faces, but we can tell the same face has been reused because the shape of their eyes are all the same. In these 2 images specifically, we can see that Tommy not only left the same eyes, but also the same nose and lips. And despite these features being the same, the changes to the complexion, the clothing, the hairstyles, and even the neck make them all look entirely different. Spotting the underlying pictures in his AI-modified images can be extremely difficult, but not impossible. We can spot the underlying pose, the clothes, or even the underlying facial characteristics, specifically the shape of them. I know that was a lot of context, but now that you know this picture was posted by one of Tommy Daniel's Walmart coworkers, a birthday celebration picture for the 15-year-old boy. I obviously have to obscure the photo because this is a very real boy, but I will be highlighting some details. When I saw this picture, it reminded me of this image that Tommy had posted on Pinterest. At first I spotted the resemblance from the same general smile and expression. The eyebrows also have a similar shape. Not exactly, but keep in mind that you can further edit and refine the eyebrows on FaceApp Pro. The general hairstyle is the same, but the hairlines don't match up because the face is layered on a different shaped head. The nose is also similar in shape, but because Tommy layered the boy's face on a pose with a different camera angle, it was adjusted with AI. But here's the kicker: the shape of the teeth. Take a look at the front teeth from the real picture. The 2 front teeth are slightly facing each other. This is a very distinct feature. Now look at the image Tommy posted on Pinterest. The 2 front teeth are also slightly facing each other. And I know what you're thinking. Well, the shape of the teeth are both slightly facing each other, but in the real picture, there's more gums showing. Well, I tested this. This can easily be adjusted on FaceApp Pro. You can edit a smile to show less gums and more teeth. And if someone has really unique teeth, notice that the general shape of the teeth remains the same even after the effects on FaceApp are applied. The app also automatically makes the teeth more white. Also, notice how on Tommy's modified image, the left eye is slightly smaller than the right eye. The same is also true for the real picture. Keep in mind that Tommy Daniel only has 114 friends on Facebook. As I mentioned, his other account has practically the same friends. And what are the odds that out of 114 friends, his own coworker of all people would have a picture of their child on their Facebook page that just happens to have the same general smile and expression, the same general eyebrows and hair, same distinctly shaped teeth as an AI-modified image that Tommy posted on Pinterest. I also spotted more children from his friends' Facebook profiles that had extreme facial similarities to his AI creations on Pinterest. Like this one, for example. Both are tilting their head and smiling at the camera in the same exact way. Both have the same eye color, and both smiles are only showing their top teeth. But because I'd have to blur and obscure the real photos, I think we can stop here. I believe he's using at least some pictures of children and teens sourced from his friends on Facebook. Not in an obvious way, but rather by using their likeness in order to create disturbing AI images to post on Pinterest. And even if my analysis into his images is entirely wrong, the fact that so many of his Pinterest images resemble children and teens posted by his friends and coworkers on Facebook is disturbing in and of itself. Tommy Daniel is still posting daily. It's unclear why he has so many Pinterest accounts, but it's possible that Pinterest really does occasionally flag and remove his profiles, and in anticipation of this, he keeps multiple profiles as backups. Tommy's accounts already have more followers than they did during my first investigation, which was about a month ago. In fact, I've seen a Tommy Daniel impersonator profile pop up as of recently. When you consider that the majority of Tommy Daniel's images on Pinterest are sexualized, fetishized, or turned into violent images with bullet holes, it's deeply unsettling to find that he's an usher at a church, and that in that church are many, many children. If there's an important takeaway here, it's this. Be careful about posting pictures of your children online, because you never know who might be using those images for disturbing purposes. The people who matter most here are the people in close proximity to Tommy Daniel. That's his coworkers, his fellow church members, and so on. And I'm glad that my investigation made those around him aware of his hidden obsessions and online activity. The thing about all of this is that we don't know what we don't know. We simply don't know the dynamic between him and children in real life. Most of us add our coworkers on social media. And if one of those coworkers was creating fetishized images of your children and or your friends' children, you would want to know. I know I would. I think a lot of people overlook the violent images he creates that feature bullet holes in the faces of adults and children, not to mention the obsession with school shooters and serial killers. It really makes the fact that he's an usher at a church just so bizarre. And the fact that he is an usher gives him a little bit more social leverage in a place that is supposed to bring peace. I personally don't go to church, but if I did, I watch way too much Law and Crime to feel comfortable knowing that someone there was into that kind of stuff. I personally would feel uneasy thinking about the what ifs. I did see a comment that a lot of the images resemble bloated, dead bodies of drowning victims, which actually makes a lot of sense. And this is just a disturbing notion to consider. Now, by this point, many people have reported Tommy Daniel. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that anything will come of these reports, simply because that seems to be the nature of the world sometimes. People get away with doing things that they shouldn't all the time. Take the Smart Schoolboy 9 situation, for example. That case had worldwide attention from Nick Crowley's video, and nothing came of it. But that doesn't mean that the awareness isn't important. In a broader sense, these cases make us make smarter decisions on social media. But in a localized way, bringing these cases to light helps those around these disturbing individuals to make more cautious decisions, and therefore, hopefully keeping themselves and their children just a little safer. Also, let's not forget that if there is no legal accountability, at least there can be some social accountability. What makes Tommy Daniel especially disturbing is that he has worked at Walmart for over 25 years, which means he definitely knows how to assimilate. He knows how to act accordingly, and I'm sure to an extent he probably knows how to be likable around people. Somebody left a comment saying that he looks like a cute grandpa. And without the context, he would appear to look like a sweet old man, but looks are deceiving. I covered this rabbit hole twice. In the first video, I simply covered the Pinterest accounts and made speculations like many people were already doing on Reddit. At this point, everyone wanted to know who the hell was behind these disturbing accounts. The common consensus among people was, this guy needs to be found and exposed. When I released my second video with the full investigation, the investigation you just saw, I was surprised at how many people began defending Tommy Daniel. Now, the majority of people see the value of my investigation and the benefit of this awareness, but others think I crossed a line, so let's talk about it. I saw comments like, let the man have a hobby, or comments still claiming that this is somehow an ARG. Which, by the way, once CSAM is involved, it's not an ARG, it's illegal. So I really don't see this argument of, oh, it can be an ARG. That's like saying, oh, I'm filming a prank video, and then you go like assault someone, and then you're like, yeah, but it was a prank video. It's like, no, you still assaulted someone. Like, I just don't see that as an argument at all. And by the way, there are many other things that I didn't expand on too much in the video, but briefly flashed on screen, like this image that states, "Buy 10, get 50% off," with a picture of a teen girl. Like truly, what the fuck is the purpose behind this image? To me, this looks like distribution. This looks like he's signaling to other sick individuals that he's got content for sale. And when you consider the fact that he had off-site links, this is dangerous behavior, period. Others were upset that I didn't blur his Facebook account that contained his workplace. Now, let me remind you that the entire investigation was conducted with publicly available information. His Pinterest profile's public, his Facebook profile public, his workplace was listed on his very public Facebook account, even using Google Street View public. At no point did I hack into anything or breach any private anything, and also I guarantee you that if I did blur his Facebook profile, people would accuse me of defending or protecting him. So no matter what, there was going to be some backlash. But to those who think that showing his public Facebook account was taking things too far, take this into consideration. Tommy was taking pictures of his coworkers' literal children, manipulating those pictures into disturbing images, and posting them publicly on Pinterest. To me, that doesn't sound like he's respecting the privacy of those children or his coworkers. So if he doesn't respect the privacy of children, why do I owe it to him to blur his public Facebook account? Now, in retrospect, I am glad that I did mention the specific Walmart, because his coworkers had no idea about his online activities. Activities that you would definitely want to be aware of about the people that you work with every single day. I did get a very interesting email. I'm going to go ahead and just read it to you. I just watched your video on Tommy Daniel's Pinterest account, where you discovered his identity and place of work. I actually live in Arkansas, not far from Forest City, and know someone who works at the Walmart as a coach/manager. I asked him if he knew an older man by the name of Tommy Daniel that works there, and he said, "Yeah, that's my maintenance guy." I then linked the video, and he was mind blown, and said that he'd get in contact with the store lead about it. I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy is relieved of his position sometime soon. Great job exposing this disturbing individual. He needs to be nowhere near children. This person never emailed me again, but I did request an update, and I even emailed him again in hopes of getting an update for you for this video, but he never responded. I do not condone the harassment of anyone ever. The proper people have been informed, and that's all we can do. There is zero reason to harass anyone. In both videos that I covered this, I did request that people not harass Tommy, the church, or the Walmart. But people do have their own agency to make their own choices, and people still did it. The church was called, the Walmart was called, and people were spamming my video on his Facebook. I don't know if Tommy still works at a Walmart, and I don't know if he's still an usher at the church. What I do know is that he's since removed his place of work from his Facebook profile. And despite people calling the Walmart, despite people calling the church, despite him knowing about my video, he is still posting. He's still posting on a now private account with the username DanielTommy926. And he's still publicly posting on Pinterest handle TD643384. So he is still not deterred. I really hope that the church took measures to protect the many children that attend. I hope no one is trusting Tommy Daniel to babysit or anything like that, because honestly, that's just been one of my biggest fears. I know some of you still might have questions, so I'll be answering some in the comments, so leave your questions and I'll definitely get to them. But I did mention that there is another disturbing user whose account needs more awareness. So let's get into that now.
Let me clean up this mess so I can handcuff you wherever you breathe. Oh boy.
I I did come across this entry on r/internet mysteries, but I do believe that YouTuber Bittersnake was the first to uncover this YouTube account. The channel is called Juggle Struggle, and I thought I'd help bring awareness to this because I believe there might be a real victim who's being recorded and posted onto YouTube. At the time of this recording, there are 208 videos and every video is sequentially numbered. The majority of the videos have no thumbnail, most of the videos only contain sound, and quite frankly, most of the content on the page is nonsensical. For example, that's one of the videos. Others are only a couple of minutes long and only contain random rustling or just other random noise with no visuals or context. The description of the channel simply states, Allison was smart. The profile picture is a really obscure police sketch that was featured in an article by The Sun, where they listed a couple of police sketches that have become memes over time. But aside from all of this, there are a few extremely disturbing videos and notable behaviors that indicate that something criminal might be happening. Could you explain to me what the fuck you are doing to make this kind of horrific noise? Now there is a video in particular that's caught some attention on Reddit, and it's where Juggle Struggle is, we'll say, pleasuring himself off screen while the camera is focused on what seems to be blood. Many of the Redditors on the thread agree that this is a fetish account, but here's why I believe that this user not only needs to be removed from YouTube, but investigated. There are multiple videos featuring audio, where a female child can be heard and it sounds like something is going on. Something explicit. Real distress can be heard and the audio does sound real. And this could potentially be CSAM material. Which is the reason I won't be playing any of that audio. Juggle Struggle has been posting daily for almost a year. And there are many videos that contain audio that implies that a child might be in danger. Unfortunately, these videos are scattered within a sea of nonsensical videos and nonsensical audio, and because of the somewhat cryptic nature, people might be inclined to shrug this entire account off as an ARG. But the sexual themes and violent nature of many of the videos really is concerning, especially because all of this is centered around a child. He also has 2 YouTube shorts on the channel. One is titled Red, and it's literally 2 seconds long.
Red.
And the other video is titled Walk, and it makes this entire channel that much more unsettling, because it features an unknown child.
Yay! Come back to mama. Walk to mama. Come on, walk, walk, walk.
On top of all of this, he has a couple of playlists. One that contains videos from a channel called Tummy Growly Girly, who uploads audio of their stomach rumbling. He also has another playlist with random unrelated videos, and another one called Allison Was Smart, which features 2 videos of Fergie Over, the disgusting talk show host from the 1980s Canadian game show, Just Like Mom. Fergie Over is of course known for kissing children on that game show. It's important to highlight that one of the contestants on that talk show was named Allison. She was one of the few kids that refused to be kissed by Fergie Over. Is this the Allison that Juggle Struggle is referring to in his description, or is he referring to someone else entirely? Is it possible that the actual child in his videos is also named Allison, making it some kind of double-layered reason as to why he's developed a strange fixation on Allison from the game show? Juggle Struggle is a truly disturbing YouTube account with horrific implications. This channel begs the question, is this someone's disgusting attempt at some kind of CSAM-based ARG? Or is there an actual child in danger? I know that I didn't play any audio from Juggle Struggle's YouTube video, and I honestly suggest you don't go and try to listen to them, because it really is that disturbing. And like I mentioned, it really sounds like CSAM, so I don't even want to risk playing that on my channel. But if you do want a full deep dive into Juggle Struggle, then just let me know and I will make it happen. The next entry is one that I've never seen covered on YouTube, and by the way, Yes, I am aware that I called a pad a tampon, and honestly, I don't even know what I was thinking, but it's proof that I don't use any form of AI here on my channel, so because mistakes like this happen. So anyway, I apologize for that in advance, but let's get into the next one. I found this weird world on the new and noteworthy tab, and it's full of random trash. Plus, there's a baby, I think. There's a video player with a bunch of different videos, and some of them don't even play, but the titles reference gore and other disturbing stuff. I checked the creator's account, and their Twitter is really weird too. Does anyone want to help investigate? I'll link everything below, along with a video of the instance. This post surfaced on r/rabbitholes, describing a strange VRC instance and an even stranger account. For those unfamiliar, VRC, better known as VR Chat, is essentially a network of virtual worlds. Within those worlds are instances, which are private or public lobbies where users can gather, interact, and exist behind avatars of their choosing. The OP provided a screenshot of the now banned profile, and almost immediately, you can tell that something is off. The profile picture contains an image of a real infant, which is a mere glimpse into this user's dark obsession. The OP also provided 4 separate links, but by the time I came across them, only 2 of them were still active. One of them is to an Apple Music profile, filled with distorted robotic spoken audio, and the other leads to one of the most disturbing social media profiles that I've ever come across.
What the fuck is that dog? What the fuck is that dog?
Okay.
What the fuck? Haida! Is that your baby photo? Stop! Pee-pee, is that Pee-pee? I don't know, it's a girl. What the fuck?
The username is Oyagorosi, an account ran by a presumably Japanese man, hosting some of the most depraved content I've ever seen. Upon clicking on the X profile, the page is already unhinged. The banner is a tampon, and the profile picture is of a crying infant, a very common theme with this user. In his 920 posts, we find image after image of various meals prepared in his filthy living conditions. Most of the food-related pictures are centered around raw meat. We find videos of his harsh reality, attempts at fixing a very leaky roof, various pictures of his haircut, alongside what seems to be childhood photos, multiple pictures of an unknown woman, who was also sometimes showcased in his VRC world, and many strange photos with little to no context. He also did post his banned VRC status. He also seems to have a hand deformity, possibly due to an injury, which makes videos like this a little more unsettling. But of course, everything that I just mentioned are the more mundane parts to this account. Many of the posts are explicit and violent, and even in his VRC world, he isn't using generated or animated images. He's using photos of real people and real infants, often posting identification cards and then putting those faces in explicit situations on VRC. Through his X account, 2 of his YouTube channels are found. In one YouTube account is one of the most disturbing videos that I've ever seen, which we'll talk about in a minute. But his other YouTube channel features him showing VRC users actual photos of exposed newborns and posting their reaction.
見て。これはかわいい。何これ
These YouTube videos feature nudity, not just of the VRC avatars, but of babies, which is hard to believe that it somehow hasn't been flagged by YouTube. This depraved fixation is something that leaks into his real life, posting pictures of his realistic child doll, often photographed in strange and off-putting ways. And the doll is also displayed in his VRC world. Oyagorosi's obsession seemed to orbit a handful of disturbing themes: pregnancy, abortion, infants, and raw meat. Individually, they're bizarre, but together they form something far more deliberate. And it's all brought into focus in a video posted in his second YouTube channel. Images of real infants are everywhere in his VRC world, depicted in off-putting, almost ritualistic ways that indicate consumption. At first I thought this observation was me simply jumping to conclusions, but then I came across a video posted on both his X account and his second YouTube channel. The borders of the video itself contain an image of a baby's face, and even stranger, at the top right and left portions of the video are also two other infants, one of which contains a picture of what seems to be a real identification card of some sort. And this same image also appears in his VRC world being stepped on. The video showcases the user slicing raw meat, all while flashing pictures of an unknown man while playing eerily playful noises. He also flashes pictures of used tampons on screen, which I'm obviously not going to show. And then a plate comes into the picture, but the plate is quickly overlaid with an image of a tampon. He then places pieces of raw meat one by one onto the tampon, but every piece of raw meat is overlaid with images of actual exposed infants. The morbid implications are clear and truly sick. And there are even more disturbing posts centered around the topics we discussed, but I think you do get the point. It does seem that this user is based somewhere in Japan, and the language barrier does make this a little more difficult for me to investigate. I truly hope that this user has never harmed anyone, but it's impossible to really know. For now, these accounts tied to Oyagorosi remains one of the most disturbing social media profiles on the internet. Today we dove into 3 rabbit holes and need more awareness. I hope you took something helpful from this video, and I hope you found it interesting. But for now, as always, I will see you in the next one.